Okay, we're going to get started. My name is Ed Wheely. I'm the Director of Special Investigations with the Indiana State Board of Accounts. Prior to that, I was a deputy with Porter County Sheriff's Department in the 90s, and then I was a FBI agent for 24 years. I retired in 22, and I can't get my fill of law enforcement. On the weekends, I'm a reserve police officer with Mooresville PD. So if you see red and blues behind you in Mooresville, it might be me. But I'll let Scotty introduce himself. You can turn it on. There's a switch.
Yeah. Okay. Technology, my secret's out. Scott Stockton, yes. Oh, sorry, Jackie. Get out of the way, Ed.
That's going to be feedback now.
Yeah. Scott Stockton, I was with the Indiana State Police for 28 years, and I had the opportunity, it was great to work with 3 federal task forces, one of which was with Ed at the FBI, Terre Haute unit for a while. Then I was the elected sheriff in Putnam County. I know we got some Putnam County people here because I saw them earlier, and over there hiding. And now I am the fraud examiner for the State Board of Accounts, and really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Ed's going to take the first part, then I've got some stuff I want to add to it. This is so I can defend myself. That's why I have a microphone.
I'm hoping to give you kind of an overview of, just very basic with State Board of Accounts, but more how special investigations fits into that, our role within the agency. And then I've got a couple recent case studies I was going to go over with you, and then Scotty's going to tell a couple jokes, and we'll take any questions.
There we go. It's already started. We're 2 minutes in. Go ahead, Ed.
Sorry. Okay, this is Mr. Paul Joyce. He is the current state examiner. We have 1 state examiner and 2 deputy examiners. That makes up our board. We've got about 275 employees total right now. And we audit and produce reports on over 4,000 government entities within the state of Indiana and non-for-profits. So I'm just going to use this word over and over, unit. When I say unit, it's a town, a city, a county, a school corporation, something that is on our audit cycle. Okay, special investigations. We are separate from the audit teams. We call ourselves investigators. At any given time, we've got between 235 and 240 auditors throughout the state that are conducting audits of the various units we have. But we're different. We don't conduct audits. We conduct investigations. So we'll receive allegations and things like that, and we look into those. I've got 11 investigators throughout the state. When we do a charge report, it's a matter of public record. We coordinate our investigations with local law enforcement, state law enforcement, federal. Most of our cases are with the Indiana State Police, probably 3/4 of them. And then probably 15 or 20% go to the FBI, and then maybe 5% to other agencies throughout the state. Again, we produce a charge report. Once our report is public, the Attorney General's office will civilly enforce it. And then we assist with criminal prosecutions. I believe every member of my team at this point has testified in a trial, a grand jury, or a sentencing hearing of some kind. So, okay. We receive complaints in a variety of ways. The most common is the portal. All the complaints work their way to me. And they come from various sources. We get government unit referrals, which it is actually the law if a government or an entity, a unit, becomes aware that there is some type of theft going on, they're required to report that to us. So this tends to be very accurate reporting because it's difficult for someone to have to report on a coworker who they're either friends with or friendly with. But most people really do want to do the right thing and this reporting tends to be very accurate. Another form is citizen complaints. This is the most numerous type of complaint we receive, and it is also the most inaccurate. And I'm not telling any of you anything when I say that local politics is very nasty. And a lot of times we receive information that is second and third hand gossip. It may be something very small, like a bill didn't get paid and there was a late charge, and by the time it works its way through the rumor mill, I'm receiving a complaint that the clerk treasurer took the town credit card and went to Vegas for the weekend. So we get a lot of that kind of stuff. Not always, though. You'll see in one of the case studies, it was a citizen complaint. Of course, we get law enforcement referrals. Sometimes law enforcement is already involved before we're even notified. State police are especially good about calling us right away. And then, of course, our audit team. Our audit teams, we have 12 audit teams throughout the state, and they know exactly what we're looking for and stuff in an investigation if we're going to take action on something. Okay, assessments versus investigations. I almost always, will open an assessment before an investigation. The reason for that is if we get a complaint, and keep in mind, I get a lot of, we'll call it noise, complaints that we're just not going to take any action on. If someone calls me or sends me a referral that the auditor went and bought a new pickup truck and they think it's too expensive for their income, they want them audited, we're not going to go look at something like that. And we get a lot of calls like that. Someone took an extravagant vacation or something like that. Our job is not to be monitoring someone's personal finances. So I always open an assessment because when you go and visit somebody and you use the word investigation, there's kind of an assumption there that there's going to be a report produced. And that's definitely not the case. Of the assessments that I open, I don't have an exact number, but I'd say it's either 1 in 4 or 1 in 3 result in an investigation. Most of them get shut once we go out and determine, yeah, this was an allegation, this is not what's going on, we're done here. So there's not a report. So we always start with an assessment, unless, I'll give you, sometimes there's already been an arrest made by local law enforcement or something like that. Someone was caught red-handed stealing, they've already been arrested. We'll open an investigation at that point because obviously if there's probable cause to arrest somebody, what they're telling us is definitely going on. So, does anyone know why we investigate allegations of malfeasance? Because it's the law. And yeah, not only is it the law, but I don't know about the rest of you, I don't particularly enjoy paying taxes. So when I find out some of that money's being stolen, it kind of makes me mad. So there's a reason it's the law. So we've got quite a few outcomes that can come from an assessment or an investigation. The first one's it's unfounded. This is, like I said, this happens a lot. And there is no report and there is no charge to the unit for this. If I come out and we ask a few questions, sit down with someone for a half hour, have a conversation, I've wasted a little bit of your time. Hopefully we've been as pleasant as possible, but there is not going to be a report if the allegation is unfounded. And a lot of people get upset about that because they're mad that there was an allegation against them. They want, hey, I want a report saying I'm exonerated. We don't do that. And I certainly understand where they're coming from, but I've kind of equate that to, who's been stopped for a traffic violation before, whether it's speeding or something like that? Okay. And maybe you got a ticket, maybe you got a warning, but has anybody ever been stopped by the police and they said, hey, I just want to let you know I'm going to write you a citation for driving good? No. Yeah, okay. That's why we don't write reports when there's, the allegation is unfounded. If we come out and there's not going to be a report, that's a good thing. Be happy with that, please. So another thing we can do is a management letter. Let's say I get an allegation and we go out and we do an assessment and we take a look at, the allegation is not true. We're not going to write a report. But we did notice during the course of this assessment there's something that could be giving you a problem down the road, a lack of internal controls, something like that, or something is being done out of compliance. If it's something minor, we can write a management letter, which is a private letter from State Board of Accounts to the Unit U. It's not public. There is no charge for it. It's just saying, hey, you may want to change this, this, and this, or just this. I call it advice, but it is good advice because our audit teams will know about that letter and they will check during the next audit if there's been any action taken on it. Now, we can also do a compliance report, and we do that from time to time with special investigations. If we come out and there's something that's out of compliance, we think it's a little more serious than something I'd use a management letter for, we'll do a compliance report. A compliance report is public record, and there is a charge for it, but when we come out and do a compliance report for a unit, the rate that we charge is different than if we're, let's say we catch a clerk treasurer stealing money, something like that, and we're doing a report. We charge that individual, not the unit, $968 a day for us to do our investigation. So it's not uncommon that we get a loss of, $25,000 they stole, and the special investigation cost $15,000 or $20,000 as well. They got to pay both. But when we come out and do a compliance report for a unit, we only charge at a rate of $400 a day, so it is less expensive. And then, of course, we have charge reports, and then charge reports with criminal prosecution. Almost every single charge report produced by special investigations is coupled with a criminal prosecution. Someone goes to jail. About the only time someone does not go to jail, I've only had one incident, and it was just this individual was told in 2 separate audits, please pay your taxes, and told that the first time, and then the second time they were told, please pay your taxes, we really mean it this time. And the third time we came in and said, okay, you're paying all these late fees that were hit by the unit. And so the prosecutor, of course, they're not wild about charging someone for, well, it doesn't meet the fraud statute anyway, but someone being bad at their job is not a crime. But we have had charge reports, though few, without criminal prosecution. So, okay. That's kind of where we are with special investigations. I just had a couple case studies I was going to go over. Are there any questions about special investigations? Or I'll just move into the case studies. Okay. Oops. Everybody know who this guy is? He's been in the news a lot. Ben Jackson, Columbus Township trustee, and he was the trustee from July 1st, 2013 to November 22nd of 2014. And we'll get into why he abruptly resigned in a second. But here's how it started. I received a citizen complaint, an anonymous complaint, and it was pretty vague. It just said this individual is taking personal trips and with him and his wife, and it's being funded by the township. Okay, like I said, I get a lot of allegations like this. I'm not thinking this is anything different. So we did take a look at the AFR before we went out there, and we realized that for 2023, that township had $271,000 in credit card expenditures, which, that's significant. And then in the 10-year period before that, they had $1,120,000 in credit card expenditures. Now, we don't know anything at this point. These could all be legit. Maybe this is just the way they, conduct business with the credit card. It seemed high, but what we did was October 29th, we went out there on an unannounced visit. We just showed up. It was myself and Cole and Leah. There was 3 of us total. And we went in. He was very pleasant. We just explained, we had a allegation that, your wife is taking business trips with you, and the township is paying her expenses. And his response was that's absolutely ridiculous. She went with me on a trip years ago and paid her own way. And I'm thinking at this point, okay, we'll be out of here in 10 minutes. So we explained, well, there are some, we see the credit cards getting used quite a bit. Can we take a look at your credit card bills for the last 3 months? And he had them sitting right there on his desk. He hands them to us. So we went in the break room, and we had 3 statements. And we just start looking at them. And the very first thing I see is 2 first-class tickets to Switzerland with his wife's name and his name, and they were $4,000 apiece.
Okay, this is the first indication that Ed had what? What do we call this in investigations? A clue.
A clue. Yeah.
He's an FBI agent. He knows what he's doing. Go ahead, Ed. This is a great story.
Maybe the township conference was over there that year. I don't know. But, yeah. But we're looking at these statements, and really, we kind of look at each other all after about 15 or 20 seconds, and everything on there, you could just tell this is personal expenses. It's B-dubs and grocery store. And,
Vail. Didn't he go to Vail? Ski trip?
Yeah. And we even found $1,200 in marijuana up in Michigan. So, but
medicinal.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. But so we went back in his office, and I says, well, can you explain these airline tickets? Just and his response was, I don't think I should say anything without an attorney present. So, okay. And he's still pleasant as can be. I said, well, can we look at your credit card statements for, the last 5 years? And he had them all in a folder for us. Didn't have any, well, he had a few receipts, but he just gave them to us. So, we spent about an hour in the break room just going through them, and it was just egregious. You could just tell there is no reason a township would be spending money on this kind of stuff. College tuition, for his own kids.
Furniture.
Yeah.
Household upkeep.
Everything.
And then he also, didn't have a bunch of stuff on Facebook, a lot of photographs.
Yeah, we'll get to some photos in a minute. So while we're in there, he leaves. He leaves the township hall. And we're still there. And we have a dilemma at this point, though. Does anyone know what the dilemma is? I couldn't hear it. But, here, I'll just tell you the dilemma. He's still sitting in office. It's going to take us 3 or 4 months to do a report, and he's dropping an average of $30,000 a month on personal expenditures. So, is he going to quit doing it? Is he going to hit the gas and keep doing it? We don't know, because it could easily be $120,000 before we get a report written. So I walked out in the parking lot. I called the Indiana State Police. I talked to one of the detectives I deal with quite a bit, and I explained what was going on, and we kind of came up with a plan. So, here he is. Here's a couple pictures. One of them, the one on the left is Italy. He's in Italy. And then the one on the right is one of his many trips to Colorado to go skiing. And we'll get into how many in a minute. But so he's, like I said, he's dropping $30,000 a month on personal expenditures, and he's still in office. So we hook up with state police, and we go there in force. All of us go together. I think we had 4 or 5 state troopers. I had most of my 4 or 5 members of my southern team. And we basically went in. They tried to interview him, the Indiana State Police did, and we just took every single record they had. We left them with nothing that day. So it was basically a raid. But he would not give anything up to the state police. But our kind of strong presence that day had the desired effect, because he went, retained an attorney. The following day, he resigned from office. So now we no longer have a problem. We've stopped the bleeding. And actually, once we started reviewing the financial records, we must have really scared him that first visit, because he never made another credit card purchase at all.
And he never smiled again in any photo. Not one. We tried to get him to smile. Weren't you happy when you saw Ed? He's like, no, I don't like it.
So the following day, he resigns from office. So we've at least stopped the bleeding. Now we just have to do a report. And, It was quite a report. Uh, just some of the things that went along. Okay, things that are indicative of someone who steals. In 2013, he made $1,600 in personal expenditures on a credit card during the whole year. Got a little more each year, and he even started paying some of them back in 2023. Of those 1,600, he paid some of those back on his own. In 2013. In 2023, he made $271,000 in that 1 year of personal expenditures and didn't pay any of it back. So you kind of see how people, they try it, see if they can get away with it. Hey, I got away with it. They try it again, and it just kind of snowballs. And it was pretty much out of control for him. So just some of the more egregious things. Eventually, we determined $1,123,334.27 on personal expenditures during this time, and that was a very generous figure. There was other stuff we know was personal, but could have potentially been used for the township. We gave him credit for that stuff. But 72 personal vacation and trips, and I'm not talking about a trip to Champaign, Illinois for the weekend. I'm talking about Vail, Colorado, multiple ski trips. There must have been 8 or 9 Disney trips with his kids, and Disney trips are expensive. Yeah. College tuition for his kids, and then home improvement. Totally redid his backyard, had a deck built, I think, or maybe just built a bar or something back. I don't remember. But he had a lot of money sunk into his personal residence. And, of course, clothing and other personal expenditures like marijuana. So
medicinal marijuana.
So our charge report comes out. He is criminally charged through Bartholomew County. Indiana State Police worked the case. They did an outstanding job. And he, January 21st, he pled guilty to 18 counts, and I couldn't believe it. He got 28 years. Now, the way that works is 2 years were suspended off the top, so he's down to 26 years. Because they're level 5 felonies, the amounts kicked it from a 6 to a 5. He has to serve 75% of that time, which is 19 years, 8 months. He's 57 years old, so, and of all places, they sent him to Pendleton. So
Pendleton's maximum security,
Yeah.
and this historically, and you all know this as officials and elected, there's a zero criminal record. I mean, pillars of the community, deacons of the church. He doesn't have any tattoos. He's not a tough guy, so good luck at Pendleton. I can't imagine.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the Columbus Township case, which got quite a bit of news coverage. So then I've got another one I'll go over real quick because I want to give Scotty some time to tell you jokes.
I got some good ones too.
So let's see. Clay City, Indiana. It's in Clay County. It's a small town, even though it's called the city. We had a clerk treasurer, and she was there from January, of 2020 through December of 23. Now, unlike the Columbus Township case, her malfeasance was not discovered until after she left office. So we didn't have to worry about, ongoing loss in this particular case. But she was very diversified in the way she took money. She had multiple ways that she put money in her pocket. Credit card expenditures with no justification. She created a fraudulent vendor, salary overpayment, and then just unauthorized payment. She just literally wrote herself a check one day. So, kind of to get into the specifics on this, she created a illegitimate vendor called Core. And the town was doing regular business with a legitimate vendor called Core in Maine. So it wasn't popping on anyone's radar when she's making all these, payments to Core. They think it's Core in Maine. Well, The difference was she only paid core by credit card. She paid core and main by check every time. So she charges 141 times for a total of $238,567.17 to core. Well, core was just an account for her, so it was going directly to her. So that was where the bulk of the malfeasance came from. But then, additionally, she had 248 credit card expenditures for a total of $41,509.75. And then she had some salary overpayment, which was not huge, $5,666. And then, the one that, like towards the end, she literally just wrote herself a $33,000 check for nothing. So, total loss on this one was $348,000, $348,591.73. So, put that in perspective, and then you see our charge for that investigation was $36,000. But try to put that in perspective. Okay, Ben Jackson was in there almost 11 years stealing, and he stole $1.1 million. She was in there 4 years, and stole over almost $350,000. So she was stealing a little quicker. So fortunately, she was voted out of office. But she has been charged federally in the Southern District, and she has pled guilty to wire fraud. She has not yet been sentenced. So watch your news for an update on that one. But any questions on the case studies before we move on? Not seeing it. Okay. I'm going to let Scotty take over. And
you're going to need that microphone to defend yourself. I talked to Jackie. I've known Jackie for years, and she had mentioned there are some newly elected persons in here. Who are the newly elected persons? Are there some new ones? You? Okay. Hey, I wanted to let you know, you and others who don't want to raise your hand, I did check in the area for confidentiality purposes. I can't give you the address now, but if you'll meet me in the back later, I'll give you the address to the stress center close by. And I will warn whomever wants to meet me out there that it's an outpatient, inpatient, so depending on how you do in the interview will depend on if you get breakfast tomorrow. So I'm going to make that available to you. Seriously, I appreciate your service to the community. I have always found when I need to locate someone or a trustee or I need to serve a subpoena to someone, I can call the county auditor or the clerk because they have an intimate knowledge of what's going on in their county. And, I say, hey, do you know so-and-so? Yeah. It's like, well, is there a problem? No, I just got to get with them. And, they're a little late on their AFR. And they're like, well, they're not home. Okay. They really do have intimate knowledge of their community. And I appreciate it. I know I've called some of you before and I get transferred to the voter registration, which is very helpful. I was a trooper. I started in 1986. Don't start doing the math, please. But I started in 1986, and I was exposed to insurance fraud, which got me later in my career. I was in charge of white-collar crime for the state police. But I really enjoyed. I thought, man, my first case is an insurance fraud case. And what had happened? This guy was in a car wreck, said he wasn't injured, and we went to court, and he had all these, couple $1,000s worth of reconstruction to his leg, et cetera, pins, operations. So I testified, and my testimony was over, and they called the farmer up, and he's on the stand and raises his hand. Farmer Brown, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth? Yeah. Okay, can you tell us what happened? He goes, well, it's exactly like the trooper said. I wrecked my truck. It rolled over, injured some of my animals that I was hauling. He shows up. I had a couple hogs with broken legs and a cow with two front broken legs. And next thing I know, that trooper's got that .357. He shot all three of them right between the eyes. And he comes over to me. He said, "Hey, I'm sorry, Farmer Brown, but your animals were injured and I had to destroy them. Are you hurt?" He goes, "Nope, well, I'm fine. I'm good." So I really became interested in fraud. Now, if you're familiar in some of your trainings, you've seen the fraud triangle. And what that is when a person mentally justifies in their mind why they start doing things that are uncharacteristic of their normal behavior. And it's the rationalization. They're the first person in, last person out. They work weekends, holidays. No one appreciates them. They get passed over. They rationalize in their mind why it's okay to start diverting funds. And the opportunity, they're in a position of trust or they're handling monies. And then the pressure, it might be because of a medical problem with a family member or personally going on. So it's the pressure to borrow funds. And I will tell you from doing investigations with state police and now here, and several of you have seen this, when people start diverting funds, it always starts off small. I mean, when I'm talking small, I'm talking $5, $10, especially when it's cash, and it always increases. When does it stop? Anybody? When does it stop? That's right, you're right. You have won your selection of a bag of chips. There's a bowl out there on one of the vendors. Help yourself, get two. That was a good answer. But they always stop when they get caught, obviously. And it is because of, and I've seen this, and Ed has seen it, and some of you, either a computer is left on, a receipt book's left out. I had one case, and the ladies from Putnam County might remember, it was because it was the treasurer for an entity that, not government, private school corporation that had been off work that day. And what she had done, this young lady had created a false company. Like Ed said, I think it was Putnam County Technology, and then she was writing checks. The checks would be Putnam County Technology, PC Tech. Her company was PC Tech. And what had happened, a mistake had been made where the bank inadvertently put Putnam County Technology's check in the wrong account, and they didn't put it in the PC, or vice versa. It doesn't matter, a mistake was made. So the bank called for her. She was gone. Now, if she had been at work that day, this would have been, who knows when it would have stopped. But she was gone, so they talked to the administrator, and the administrator said, "We don't have PC Tech." "Oh, yes, you do. You got about $57,000 of checks gone through there." So you can imagine it was just bad for them, bad for her. But we'll get to this in a moment. Well, I guess it's time now. But things to monitor when you're an administrator, things what you want to look for are people who never take time off because they can't take the time off because of something like this happens. What if the vendor calls? What if someone What's going on in your county? We'll talk. Ed, go down there. It's working.
Row 5.
Yeah. Yeah, either you're going to give us information, ma'am, or you're going to lawyer up. It doesn't matter to me. But they can't take time off because they need to continue that type of mechanics of the fraud. The other thing that I have seen is, and I could talk about actual case studies over and over, and this has happened. No one else has access to records. Either the bookkeeper will take the records with them when they leave, like for vacation, or they'll lock them up to where no one has access. There's another one back there. My God, what is going on with this crowd? You know something too. It's okay. We'll talk. But they will lock up access, and they won't let anybody else look at the books. They won't let people look at the credit card statements. They don't want to let anybody see the amount of the credit card. They exclusively control the payment. And as a manager, I'm telling you, change that, because that's not a good office practice, because it's easier to change it and cross-train your staff than it is to have Fox 59 and Channel 4 and Channel 8 in your parking lot pushing cameras. As the auditor, can you explain? I wish I could. I wish I could, and you can rub your eyes as much as you want. You're not going to wake up. This is real. My point is, if you do have resistance within your office of changing duties, that's just part of being a manager. You have to, you need to take the bull by the horns. You need to do what's best for the interests of your agency. Cross-train. Have other people do those duties for either, every quarter, or if that's too often, every 6 months, change the duties or shadow and have other people know how to take over. Make sure people have access to the payroll book so they can make payroll. Keys to the safe, because if someone is gone or God forbid there's an accident, what are you supposed to do? Well, Sarah's the only one that has the keys. I don't know where they're at. No one has the combination, and we're going to have to call a locksmith. That's not a good practice as a manager. Look for a person who only makes the daily deposits, especially if it's in cash and checks. Another case, the ladies from Putnam County will remember, it was a doctor's office. The office manager consistently made the deposits every day, every day, every day. Cash, checks. And again, started stealing. And within 5 years, I think it was $104,000 in cash. She'd take the deposit slip at the office, which was correct, file it away, then go to the bank, get another deposit slip, make the deposit, go back. Well, she didn't have to worry about what was in the file because she created it. However, here's the error. Here's what happened. New girl comes in. The lady stops stealing for about 4 or 5 months. She stops the bleeding. She stops taking funds. New girl comes in. She's training her how to do your job, do the daily deposit slip, put the deposit slip in here, take the money in cash, go to the bank, have it deposited, take the receipt, put it, So, okay, I got it. The new girl thinks, I want to do really well in my position. So what did the new girl do? That she would be a better employee. Anybody? There are a bag of chips at stake here. Anybody? What did the new girl do? What? She looked back. That's right. She looked back in the file. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. So I'm going to go back farther than what I was trained. And then she's looking, she's like, well, that's weird. This deposit's for $300, but it says we took in $900. I'm not an accountant. Let me just bring this to the doctor. So any good doctor would say, I don't know anything about this. Just have an audit done. So $22,000 later for an audit, sure enough, she had to pay for that too. And that's what had happened. And the point is, she was the office manager, daily deposits, only handled cash, not a good practice. It's not that you don't trust your people. This is business. This is business. You're responsible. You are responsible. I was the county sheriff for 8 years. If anything happened, and I mean anything, Bliss McKnight was out here earlier. They're like, hey, Scotty, good to see you again, my insurance company. I was getting sued. I wasn't even there. I was out of state at the time. It doesn't matter. You are going to get named in the litigation. You are the elected official. So if it happens under your purview, you're going to get named in it. So what you can do to curtail that is, again, rotate these duties. Don't let someone have exclusive control to cash. Cross-train. These are all good things you can do. The credit card bills, working on holidays, weekends by themselves. It's like, why? Why are you doing that? You have to ask yourself as a manager. One of the things that Ed and I were just talking, earlier, is Ed was with the FBI. The guy we used to work with is Jake Overton. We were on the phone with him earlier, and we were telling him, we were going to come up here today, and he wanted me to emphasize these emails that you get saying that your your vendor information, your banking information has been changed, and it looks just very original. And it says, hey, the router number's been changed, or here's the new deposit. Has anybody gotten an email like that saying that something, you all see that's strange that it's this small of a crowd that you get that. There's a pretty high percentage. The first thing you want to do is call your vendor. If you know them personally, and you should, call them directly and say, hey, Terry, Tim, whomever, I just got this email. Did your information change on bank deposit? I don't know what you're talking about. Because the way these perpetrators get information is like when I was sheriff, and you guys get them too. You get vendors calling you all the time. You can't do your job because vendors are trying to sell you everything from light bulbs to ceiling tiles to carpet that's padded. And, you know, they ask, hey, well, for me, who's your commissary dealer? CPC. Okay. Well, they go online. I'm talking about a perpetrator, and I was using this as an example. They go online and they could find a bill for CPC. There's their platform. Now they email it, and it looks real. And if you're not aware of this, but we get these all the time. Now, Jake over in Terre Haute, and he works the west side of the whole state over there, so I don't know what area this affected, but it's in the millions of dollars. And what happens, and Ed has had this happen. We've had this happen with a lot of school corporations here in Indiana.
We've had a small town get hit in the last month for well over $1 million.
Yeah, and when you're writing checks, like my water bill at the sheriff's office was $7,000 a month. But some of your bills are in the tens of thousands of dollars. And what happens is, if you buy into this fraud, unbeknownst to you, you buy into it and you make 2 or 3, 4, 5 months of payment, your vendor's probably going to go, it's the county, it's slow, I get it, it's all right, we'll get paid. Well, there's going to come a time when they're going to call and say, hey, we didn't get our payment. Yeah, you did. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. I sent it to the new account number. There is no new account number. So then again, what happens? Channel 8, Fox 59, NBC, everybody's out in the parking lot again. So these are things you want to avoid. You don't want this in politics. So call your vendor and confirm if you get those. Can I see the ladies who have had that? Who was that in the back? You, ma'am, what happened? Did you get something like that? Mm-hmm. Okay. And was it for an extravagant amount, if I can ask? Well, good work for you. And let me see what I got in here. These are very rare, ma'am. These are made in Germany. It's an orange highlighter with a special ink that won't run. That's for you. Get with me. I'm going to save that for you. You deserve it. Good job. I'm sorry, yeah. Good job. Excellent work. Extravagant lifestyle. And I did notice earlier, because what I do, Ed and I have done hundreds, if not thousands of interviews in our careers. I look at the crowd. I'm a people person. I like to watch. And one of the things I look for in an interview is a reaction. Like if I ask a person enough questions, I'm looking for, like, I picked up that, you didn't really like that, so I'll come back to it. My point is, when Ed was talking about, as an elected official, going out and buying a new car, there's 3 ladies back here. I did notice that as soon as he mentioned it, they started whispering and talking. So now they're laughing about it. Who bought the new car? Oh, okay. Did you do that with taxpayer money? I don't want to hear it. Really, you need to talk to your attorney. But we do get, and he's not kidding, we do get reports like that of, hey, so are you elected, ma'am? You're the sitting auditor? Okay, we probably got a report on you. But no, I'm serious. We probably do. Get with me. I got it in a file. But we do get reports like that, though. These people will, they'll send us these data reports, or they'll email me or Ed and go, so-and-so's the new auditor, and they got a brand new car. I know she's stealing. It's like, we really do get stuff like that. Just like the case that he had down south where it's just such a ludicrous. It's like, hey, the trustee's going to Switzerland, and I bet, and you go down there and they gives you the credit card. It's like, oh my goodness. So my point is, make sure I get the registration. I'm going to need that for the affidavit. But we do get reports like that, and historically, a lot of times it's around the election or shortly thereafter. We get flooded with, it's what do they call that? Bittersweet or bitter apples or something bitter.
Sour grapes.
Apples. What? Sour grapes. I don't eat that much fruit. So sour grapes, they're angry, so they make allegations against another person, and it puts their name on a file, and then the rumor mill. But we really do get that. We get so many different types of complaints. And we do get them. And I know we were talking to someone at the table, or one of our staff members was telling us, someone was asking about how to report a suspicion or an allegation or even a rumor. I've got business cards. Ed, I don't know if he brought.
I just ordered new ones.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So anyway, I'll give you my card. You can email us direct. You don't have to go through the portal and be formal. You can also request to be anonymous, and we'll honor that. But my email, I'll have cards here. I also have, I've got a really good sheriff's picture. When I was sheriff, those are $49.95 cash only. I'll be signing them in the back. And you get the free email with that too on the back. So that's available to you. Again, cross-train. And lastly, we'll have a couple minutes for questions. Lastly, please, I'm asking you, I'm begging you all as elected officials, it doesn't cost that much. If anyone in your office handles, touches, looks at money, thinks about money, spends money, have them bonded. Bond them. Go to, it's not that expensive because now it's a blanket bond. I think you can, like 4 to 6 people, you can bond them depending on their financial history. But if your employees handle money, bond them as soon as you get back from training. And if you're asked, what's the best thing you learned? I learned about bonding. Because it's not that much, and it will insulate you, your office, and the county from, to a degree, I should say that. We got an attorney sitting there, and he's rubbing his head. To a degree, it will insulate you from culpability as far as, the county having to pay. So, real quick, lastly, a case, it was in Crawfordsville. And I can talk about this because it's been adjudicated. It's public records. Nothing I'm telling you that you can't find on the internet. But a young lady was embezzling from the Parks Department, and I think with the audit cost of SBOA, and I was still with the state police at the time, I think it was $196,000. It was all in cash, and she had just been bonded for $200,000. So the city was made whole. I think I can park anywhere I want in Crawfordsville for free, but the city was made whole. There was no fiscal impact, and as a politician, you want to say that a lot. It had no fiscal impact on my office. We caught it in time, blah, blah, blah. I can give you some pointers on that too. And that's free. That comes with the photograph. So if you have any questions or you want my email, I'll have some cards up here, and you can report anything you want, even if it's suspicion, like maybe your coworker just got, was it a car or truck? Truck? Okay. Well,
That's going to be an audit.
that's going to be an audit. And let me tell you, you're laughing now, but those 2 friends beside you, that's called witnesses. So, yeah. Okay. Anybody? We got a mic to pass around for questions. If you have questions, anybody?
And you're not allowed to file suspicious complaints regarding either of these two, okay?
Yeah, no,
'Cause
no,
they
no,
get
no.
them, okay?
We'll delete
I know
those.
they're very suspicious, but honestly, they're very entertaining. They both share an office together, and so the best thing to do is if you just need a laugh, walk in and talk to one of them, but you get both. It's really great. So, I mean, if you need to
It's a
smile,
hostile
just-
work environment.
yeah,
He throws
just
paper
call-
clips at me. It's
just
awful.
call them. Any questions for Ed and Scotty?
Anybody? Nothing? What's that, ma'am? You're going to turn in a false claim for what and say you were here when you really weren't in class? I'm sorry, what? No, you guys been great. If you got any questions, if you want my email, I'll be in the back.
And
Thanks for your service.
Yes, thank you guys very much.